People on Earth often wonder if there are other beings in the universe. There were certain findings that made it seem more likely. We found evidence that other planets might be able to support life, from simple bacteria to advanced civilizations. Do aliens really exist? Let us answer your questions as we start this video. 2004. Mysterious radio signal. Scientists have discovered that a group of repeating radio signals from space follows a specific pattern. These signals are coming from a single source located about 500 million light-years away from our planet. Fast radio bursts, also known as FRBs, are short bursts of radio waves that last for only a fraction of a second and occur in space. Each radio burst happens only once and does not happen again. Fast radio bursts are known to send out short and energetic radio waves multiple times. Usually, when they repeat, it happens randomly or in a group, based on what we have seen before. From September 16th, 2018 to October 30th, 2019, scientists working together on the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment Fast Radio Burst Project noticed a regular occurrence of bursts happening every 16.35 days. For 4 days, the signal would release a few bursts every hour. After that, it would remain quiet for another 12 days. The signal is a type of radio burst called FRB 180916, J0158 plus 65, and it repeats. The Chime FRB collaboration found the origins of 8 new repeating fast radio bursts, including this one. Scientists found that the repeating signal came from a very large spiral galaxy located about 500 million light-years away. Researchers want to find out what caused these mysterious bursts by figuring out where they came from. They have found that single and repeating fast radio bursts come from different sources, which makes the mystery even more puzzling. Talk about adding more confusion to the mystery, right? It's like trying to solve a puzzle that just keeps getting trickier. If they can trace more bursts, they can use the signals to map how matter is spread across the universe more effectively. The researchers think that by observing more in the future, they can figure out if other repeating fast radio bursts follow a pattern. That way, they will be able to determine if this pattern is unusual or normal. Ghost rockets in Sweden. UFO sightings did not begin in America with Kenneth Arnold's sighting in 1947. During World War II, unidentified flying objects, UFOs, were observed worldwide, particularly in Europe and the Far East. Allied pilots called the Foo Fighters. The Swedish government hid the incident and only shared information about it 40 years later. Something interesting happened on the night of June 9, 1946. A super bright light zoomed across the sky, leaving behind a smoky trail and making a thunder-like sound. It was so bright that its trail lasted for a whole 10 minutes. And guess what? The same thing happened again the next night, but this time, the light turned around and went back where it came from. Talk about a mysterious ghost rocket! It definitely wasn't a regular meteor or asteroid, because those don't usually change their minds and go back. Both military and civilian witnesses described the ghost rockets as having several common characteristics. These included high speed, bright light similar to a missile, no sound, and flying horizontally. These characteristics do not match any natural flying objects such as meteors, asteroids, or comets. The Swedish government tried to blame the UFO sightings on the Soviet Union. They accused the Soviets of testing captured German V-2 rockets. Many people believed in a diversionary tactic that turned out to be false. Eric Malmberg, a Swedish air engineer who was the secretary of Sweden's Defense Staff Committee in 1946, stated that everyone on the committee, including the chairman, knew that the ghost rockets did not come from the Soviet Union. This statement was made 40 years later. There is no evidence to support that. However, according to the reports, it seems that Sweden was targeted by a cruise missile. However, in 1946, no country had advanced cruise missile technology. In late 1946, the number of reports about ghost rockets from Scandinavia decreased. However, there were new reports of similar sightings from Hungary, Greece, Morocco, and Portugal, indicating that this phenomenon was happening worldwide. Roswell and Area 51. In the summer of 1947, during the start of the Cold War, the U.S. Army Air Forces made a surprising announcement. They claimed to have found a flying disc on a ranch near Roswell. Even after 70 years, the incident still plays a significant role in shaping the identity of the area. The town has a museum and research center about UFOs. There is also a McDonald's that looks like a flying saucer, streetlights with alien designs, and a broken-down UFO on the side of State Route 285 with a family of extraterrestrials inside, hoping for help. However, there is a troubling truth behind all the excitement about UFOs. The events that happened that summer were not straightforward. There were cover-ups and different explanations given. It was a flying saucer. It was a secret mission. The Soviets were responsible. In the middle of June or early July 1947, a rancher named W.W. Mac Brazel discovered some wreckage on his large property in Lincoln County, New Mexico. This location is about 75 miles north of Roswell. During that summer, there were already stories in the national press about flying discs and flying saucers. This made Brazel think that the wreckage he found, which included rubber strips, tinfoil, and thick paper, might be something similar. He gave some of the material to Sheriff George Wilcox of Roswell. Sheriff Wilcox then told Colonel William Blanchard, who was in charge of the Roswell Army Airfield, RAAF. The next day, the RAAF made a statement saying that the rumors about a flying disc were true. They said that the intelligence office of the 509th Bomb Group of the 8th Air Force at Roswell Army Airfield got a disc with the help of a local rancher and the sheriff's office of Chavez County. According to the statement, Major Jesse Marcel, who was an intelligence officer, was in charge of the RAAF's investigation of the crash site and the materials that were found. A person who used to work as an engineer at Area 51 for a defense contractor called EG&MG, but wishes to remain anonymous, told Annie Jacobson, a journalist with experience in national security and a nominee for the Pulitzer Prize, that the program at Area 51 was created by Josef Mengele, a doctor who worked at Nazi concentration camps. Old data from Venus probes and landers. Recently, scientists announced that they found a gas called phosphine in the acidic clouds of Venus. This gas suggests that there might be microbes living on Venus, which is exciting because it could mean there is life beyond Earth. The researchers did not find any real living things, but they observed that on Earth, bacteria can produce phosphine in places without much oxygen. The scientists found the phosphine using telescopes in Hawaii and Chile. Scientists have always been curious about whether there is life beyond Earth. Scientists have used probes and telescopes to look for signs of life on other planets and moons in our solar system and beyond. These signs are called biosignatures, and they are indirect indicators of life. Scientists use telescopes on Earth to study the chemistry and other features of objects in space. Scientists detected a small amount of phosphine, about 20 parts per billion, in the atmosphere of Venus. This is considered a very low concentration. Greaves explained that the researchers looked at things like volcanoes, meteorites, lightning, and chemical reactions as possible sources, but none of them seemed likely. The research is still trying to either prove that there is life or come up with another explanation. Venus is the planet closest to Earth. Venus is a planet that is similar in structure to Earth, but slightly smaller. It is located as the second planet from the Sun. Earth is the third planet. Venus has a thick and toxic atmosphere that keeps heat trapped. Surface temperatures can get extremely hot, reaching 880 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hot enough to melt lead. Scientists believe that the high clouds on Venus, these clouds are super acidic and have temperatures around 86 degrees Fahrenheit. It's like a hot and sour soup up there. These clouds contain about 90% sulfuric acid. Microbes on Earth cannot survive such acidity. Greaves said that if the organisms are very small, they might need sunlight water and live in liquid droplets to prevent dehydration. However, they would also need a way to protect themselves from acid corrosion, which is currently unknown. Apollo 11. UFO sighting. UFO sightings in outer space are when astronauts see objects flying that they can't identify or explain. Ufologists believe that these sightings are evidence of visits by aliens. Some of the sightings that were claimed to have happened actually did not happen. People who believe in UFOs think that comments from astronauts or photos from NASA are very convincing evidence because they trust them a lot. However, in a letter from 1970, Robert F. Allnut, who works for NASA, said that even after many years of space travel and exploring the moon, astronauts have not found any evidence of extraterrestrial spacecraft or UFOs. In 2009, ufologists posted NASA footage on YouTube. This led to renewed UFO conspiracy theories, suggesting that the government is hiding information about its interactions with intelligent life. The ufologists used a lack of context to promote a collection of unclear images and claims. In the UFO community, there are stories that say Neil Armstrong saw several UFOs during Apollo 11. One possible explanation is that the sightings were caused by discarded parts. Buzz Aldrin claims that his words were misunderstood in an interview in 2005 regarding the incident. In 2005, astronaut Leroy Chiao saw lights during a spacewalk outside the International Space Station. He described them as being in a queue and resembling an upside-down tick mark. The incident was featured as a potential UFO sighting on the TV show Are We Alone? On August 19, 2020, cosmonaut Ivan Wagner shared a video on Twitter. The video showed UFOs in a time-lapse recording of the Aurora Australis. Wagner called the objects space guests. Roscosmos quoted Wagner's tweet and said, "A cosmonaut from Roscosmos, Ivan Wagner, made an interesting and mysterious video from the International Space Station." Green fireball in Louisiana. The American Meteorological Society is looking into a video recorded by a ring camera in Louisiana. The video shows a green fireball moving quickly through the sky. A doorbell camera in Louisiana recorded something strange that has led to many people speculating about UFOs. The camera captured a green fireball moving quickly through the sky at night. This made people wonder if it could be a sign of aliens. A bright green ball of light quickly moved across the sky, making a suburban street look magical. Many people in nearby areas also saw the fiery event, which made people speculate even more. Some viewers still doubt the meteorological explanation. Some believe that there is more to the sighting and have come up with different theories, such as alien spacecraft or interdimensional beings. People who don't accept the usual explanation are fascinated by the unknown. The video of the green fireball became popular on social media, and many people responded to it. Some people found the situation funny and made jokes about UFOs stopping to try a local food. Some people were genuinely scared and amazed, thinking about the chance of meeting aliens. This is not the first time people have encountered unidentified flying objects. In Las Vegas, a police officer's body camera recorded a possible UFO flying quickly through the sky at night. Residents reported seeing an object that appeared to be definitely not human. The American Meteor Society noticed the incident, but it made people wonder if there is life from other planets. People are still debating whether the sightings are caused by meteors or alien invasions. These sightings remind us that the mysteries of the universe are still fascinating to us. We are curious about the existence of aliens, which both excites and worries us. Milkway. Ocean worlds are planets that are like Earth and have an ocean on or below the surface. The moons of Saturn and Jupiter in our own solar system fit this bill. One example is Enceladus, a moon of Saturn that has geysers and a huge pool of liquid salt water just below its frozen surface. However, how common are these kinds of ocean worlds in the whole universe? Scientists have decided to look into this again to find out how many planets in the Milky Way could be called ocean worlds. They were also interested in how often these worlds, like Enceladus, send water plumes into space from their seas. The experts found that more than a quarter of the 53 exoplanets could be ocean worlds. The scientists looked at 53 exoplanets the size of Earth and the 7 planets in the close TRAPPIST-1 system to get an idea of how many ocean worlds might be in the Milky Way. The exoplanet's mass, radius, surface temperature, orbital period, and distance from its star were some of the things they looked at. Scientists figured out that most of these planets might have oceans below layers of ice, and about a quarter of them might be ocean worlds. According to what the team found, some of these possible ocean planets give off a lot more energy than Enceladus and Europa. As of right now, assumptions that go into these mathematical models are educated guesses, as NASA says. But this information could be useful for helping experts figure out which exoplanets they want to study more or where they might put probes in the future. In the future, scientists might be able to check Quick's findings by keeping an eye on these worlds' temperatures, or looking for signs of volcanic or cryovolcanic, where liquid or vapor spews out instead of molten rock, eruptions. These could be seen in the light and wavelengths that are blocked by a planet's atmosphere. Species of microbe. New research suggests that there could be bacteria from a long time ago on Mars, protected from space radiation under the planet's surface. Scientists conducted experiments in a laboratory to understand if bacteria and fungi could survive in conditions similar to Mars. However, they have not discovered any proof of life on the red planet yet. They were surprised to find out that bacteria could survive for 280 million years if it was buried and shielded from the harmful radiation and particles on the surface of Mars. The research showed that if there was ever life on Mars, there might still be evidence of it underground. Future missions could investigate this by drilling into the Martian soil. Mars used to be a better place for life a long time ago, with an atmosphere and water on its surface, but now it is more like a frozen desert. The planet's dry middle latitudes have an average temperature of -80 degrees Fahrenheit. There is a constant risk of radiation on Mars due to its thin atmosphere. The scientists also found how long microorganisms can survive when they are exposed to ionizing radiation, similar to what they might encounter on Mars. Next, the team exposed 6 types of bacteria and fungi from Earth to a simulated Martian surface environment. They also subjected them to protons or gamma rays to imitate space radiation. One clear winner was found, and it is called Deinococcus radiodurans. The microbe called Conan the bacterium was well suited for life on Mars because of its toughness. The bacteria is a type of organism that can survive in extreme conditions like dryness, acidity, and cold temperatures. The hardy microbe is a very tough organism that can withstand a lot of radiation. Scientists have studied it and found that it is one of the most radiation-resistant organisms known. Life around a black hole. A supermassive black hole bends the space and time around it. When the astronauts were on the planet, many years went by outside the black hole's reach for every hour they spent there. A recent paper published on the preprint server ArcSieve suggests that the ability of a planet near a supermassive black hole to support life would be significantly impacted by time shifting. General relativity's time warp affects how time passes and the type of light that reaches a planet, which has implications for any life there. The author of the paper, Jeremy Schnittman, says that even though we are not sure if a habitable planet could orbit a supermassive black hole, thinking about it can help us learn more about the universe. Schnittman, an astrophysicist at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center, describes it as playful and slightly humorous, but it helps us understand how the universe functions. Even though there may not actually be any planets around a black hole, it's still enjoyable to imagine it. Astronomers use the term habitable zone to describe an area in a planetary system where conditions could possibly support life from other planets. These zones show where temperatures in a planetary system might be suitable for liquid water. This depends on factors like the amount of light emitted by the star and the distance between the planet and the star. According to Schnittman, it is possible to define habitable zones around supermassive black holes, assuming that there are planets orbiting these black holes. However, these planets would receive light and heat from sources other than the Sun. WW2 Foo Fighters. During the later part of World War II, the mission updates from the 415th Night Fighter Squadron became strange and puzzling. Pilots flying over the German-occupied Rhine Valley noticed strange lights following their aircraft during dogfights. In November 1944, a group of people were flying in a Bristol Beaufighter plane along the Rhine River. The crew included a pilot named Edward Schluter, a radar observer named Donald J. Myers, and an intelligence officer named Fred Ringwald. They were flying north of Strasbourg. They saw 8 to 10 bright orange lights on the left wing, flying quickly through the air. The radar in the air and on the ground did not detect anything nearby. The report said that Schluter looked at the lights, and then they vanished. Later, they were seen at a greater distance. The display stayed on for a few minutes, and then went away. More reports continued to arrive. The things flew next to the airplanes at a speed of 200 miles per hour. They were either red, orange, or green. Sometimes they were alone, and other times there were up to 10 of them flying together in a pattern. They were very good at moving in ways that the airplanes they were following couldn't. They were not detected on radar. At the end of the year, a war correspondent named Robert C. Wilson celebrated New Year's Eve with the 415th. The following day, his story about the FEU fighters was published on the front page of newspapers all over the country. Other groups of military units had witnessed the sightings, but what really caught people's attention were the large amount of sightings, how often they occurred, and how they affected the crews of the 415th Squadron. The fact that a reporter took the time to listen to the airmen's accounts also played a role in prompting investigations into these sightings. People who are not professional psychologists, enthusiasts of military aviation, and people who believe in conspiracy theories tried to give explanations, but the airmen did not find any of them believable. They didn't think they were seeing things because they were tired from fighting. The pilots didn't think the lights came from German secret weapons because they didn't cause any damage. St. Elmo's fire is a type of light that comes from sharp objects in electrical fields. It seemed unlikely because the FEU fighters were able to move in very extreme ways. Oumuamua, alien craft or asteroid? In 2017, a comet called Oumuamua caught the attention of scientists and the public because it was mysterious. It was the first visitor from outside our solar system that we knew about. Unlike most comets, it didn't have a bright coma or dust tail. It had a strange shape, kind of like a cigar and a pancake combined. It was small, more like an asteroid than a comet. Scientists were puzzled by the way it was moving away from the sun, as they couldn't explain it. Some even suggested it might be an alien spaceship. A scientist from the University of California, Berkeley, and an astronomer from Cornell University believe that they have found a simple explanation for the strange movements of a comet. They think that the comet's path changed because it released hydrogen gas as it warmed up in the sunlight. This process is likely common among many icy comets. What made Oumuamua unique compared to other comets in our solar system was its size. It was very small, and when hydrogen gas came out of the ice, it slightly changed its path around the sun. Comets are like dirty snowballs that come close to the sun from far away in our solar system. When a comet is heated by sunlight, it releases water and other molecules, creating a bright halo or coma around it. This can also result in tails made of gas and dust. The gases that are released push the comet, like thrusters on a spacecraft, and make it change its path a little bit. Normally, objects in the solar system, like asteroids and planets, follow elliptical orbits, but the comet's path is slightly different. When scientists found Oumuamua, it didn't have a coma or tail. It was too small and far from the sun to have enough energy to release a lot of water. This made astronomers wonder about what it was made of and what was causing it to move away. Comets are frozen rocks that were created when our solar system formed 4.5 billion years ago. They can provide information to astronomers about the conditions during that time. Comets from other star systems can provide clues about the conditions near stars with disks where planets are forming. The main point is that Oumuamua is likely a regular comet from another star system that went through a lot of changes. The size of the universe. It is impossible for our minds to fathom the sheer scale of the cosmos, which, according to some estimates, could contain anywhere from 100 billion to 130 billion galaxies. After that, you need to think about the huge number of stars that are contained within these galaxies, and then you need to think about the number of stars that will have planetary systems. even if there is a very specific set of characteristics that must be present in order to sustain life. The sheer immensity of the cosmos and the number of planets that potentially host life is still an astoundingly large quantity. Therefore, the odds are extremely substantial in favor of the existence of some type of extraterrestrial life, and quite likely a lot of it as well. This is because the odds are in favor of the existence of extraterrestrial life. The fact that these other worlds that are similar to Earth and other planets that have the potential to host life are so far away from us that we will never be able to communicate with them or reach them means that we will never know for sure if we are the only ones in the universe or not. This is both irritating and fascinating. Thanks for watching. The world is so fascinating, and this video definitely showed you a lot, so make sure to give this video a like and hit that subscribe.